So I love when we're able to really focus on getting, the blood sugar stability, the stress reduction. And we get, I would say, the insulin we want to love up on, the cortisol we want to love up on. These are some of those, this is really what the lifestyle habits are for. And we do this by things like actually eating food in a day. I know it's a novel idea for some, but actually eating meals in a day, not having coffee for breakfast and lunch and, waiting till 2 or 5 or 6 p.m. to eat, or relying on that bagel you got at the coffee shop along with your coffee this morning, because that's a refined carb and you're not going to feel very good about that.
Welcome to the Clear Skin Chronicles, the podcast that takes you on a journey to uncover the secrets of achieving glowing, acne-free skin. We believe that knowledge is power, and by understanding the root causes of your acne, we can create a solid foundation for long-lasting clear skin. I'm Katie Stewart, registered holistic nutritionist and founder of the Clear Skin Solution, where we help women just like you get to the root cause of their acne.
And I'm Chris Brown, registered holistic nutritionist and program director in the Clear Skin Solution. Through functional testing, we pinpoint where the body system imbalances lie so we can dive deep into your acne clearing journey.
We work virtually with clients to clear up their skin from the inside out and have helped thousands of women worldwide regain their confidence.
Welcome back to season 2 of the Clear Skin Chronicles. Chris, did you think we would make it this far when we started last June?
Yes.
You did. I'm always nervous when we do things like this, right? Being that people pleaser, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if they don't like it? But we've received such great feedback from our community, or, our social media community. Also, even our own clients are loving it. So we just want to extend our heartfelt thank you for listening along and putting up with Chris and I's debauchery on a weekly basis. So we're back with season 2, and we have a jam-packed year lined up for you guys. As always, every Wednesday, we'll be coming in hot with a new episode, and we have some great guests coming in as we're able to expand the podcast. We've been working with our awesome podcasting team as well to be, bringing you more and bigger and better. That's always the thing here at KSW. So we wanted to start off. Oh, and before Chris gets upset with me, Happy New Year, everybody.
Right? I was like, hello, everybody.
Remember when I told you to say Happy New Year? Yeah. Okay.
Happy New Year,
everybody. Happy New Year.
And welcome to 2024.
Also, did we think we would make it to 2024? I didn't.
Yes. At least lie.
Chris, honesty is my best and worst quality.
I know, transparency. I think your entire team is very codependent on transparency. So I think we have an internal breeding system of that.
Yeah. And that's what my husband always says is my best and worst quality is my honesty. He's like, sometimes you can soften things a little bit. And I'm like, no, I don't need to soften. All right. We've totally got off the rails. So let's get into the first topic of the year. And this is how we can be building a really strong foundation for acne sufferers, right? Because it's the new year. Who here has made a resolution? I stopped making them forever ago because I can never keep them. And we find that a lot of times in January, people are really quick to jump on, again, those quick fixes. They may be natural quick fixes in quotations, but still, we don't want to be skipping over really foundational lifestyle habits in favor of, say, I'm going to do a detox. I'm going to buy this detox kit. I'm going to do a 5-day juice cleanse. I'm going to do, get this new kit of hormone balancing supplements. I'm going to get a gym membership. I'm going to do this. When in fact, we're skipping over the really big things that need to be in place and that's not the right word. We need to have these foundational things in place before we move on to the detoxes and the hormones and all of these things, because it creates this really solid footing. Like, you're not going to go and build this skyscraper with these big goals if you don't have a really strong, concrete, sturdy foundation in place, because the building's only going to hold up for so long. And that's the same thing with your health. So, Chris, let's go through some of these more, natural quick fixes, why they may not be the best to do right now. And then we can be moving into the really again, guys, these are easy. These are simple things that we know every day. But again, it's a good reminder to really start strong with these things right now. So Chris, I'll let you jump on board. I'll stop talking now.
Not just that, when we say easy, We mean core foundation, right? The holistic concepts and stuff. Guess what? They are not easy to everybody for the application for longevity.
Simple is the right word.
It's simple. And only reason why I say that is because somebody says, well, that's easy to me and not to me. And that's totally cool. We're going to meet you where we need to meet you. And we definitely do that inside the Clear Skin Solution. So when we look at the word lifestyle, it encompasses a big envelope. And like I said to you, Katie, diet, not a fan of the word.
I don't like the word. I don't like the word because the bad connotations that drop 10 pounds. Like that's what people think diet, they think weight loss.
Yeah, food relationships, all of these things. So diet is not outside of the realms of lifestyle. Diet is inclusive of lifestyle. So please, 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 when people say to us, well, I changed my diet and it didn't do anything. So now why do you want me to say take out soy? Or now why do you want me to stop eating at Chick-fil-A? Right? It didn't do anything when I cleaned it up. Diet is a component of the lifestyle. And once we understand how to zone in on our lifestyle, then we have sustainability and we have longevity. So that's a cool goal. That's what we always try and achieve. So let's talk about the D word.
Uh-oh. The diet? We already talked about the D word.
No, let's talk about it for a second.
All right, nutrition.
It's nutrition. Yeah, I like it. Okay, I like that.
Chris is really big on words, you guys. Like she really needs to have the right word. Hence why she couldn't move on. So I needed to solve the problem for her.
Gold star, Katie, right there. Right in the new year, you're starting with a gold star.
Gold star for me, everybody. Mark it down on our calendars.
So let's talk about nutrition for a second because a new year, we want to rip out everything.
Everybody does. Like, oh my gosh, I'm waking up. It's December 31st. You're chugging back a bottle of wine, done a couple shots, maybe, some tequila, whatever your vice.
Were you watching me?
No, I wasn't. And it's like, tomorrow, you're like half in the bag. Tomorrow, I'm waking up and I am eating so well. I'm removing all the things. And then you wake up like feeling like crap. For me, I don't drink, so I wake up really tired, which makes me feel hungover. And you're already starting off on a wrong foot. So it leads to this immediate self-sabotage because you're like, oh man, it's January 1st and already messed up my goals because I am hungover and I just want to go to McDonald's and grab a McDonald's breakfast meal.
It's always that word tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes, right? Yesterday passed, so we always have today. So
Are you Yoda? Like, did you turn into Yoda there for a few minutes?
I don't know. Was it philosophical? Did it sound good? In my head, it sounded good. I have to remind myself that too. Like when I'm trying to do tasks or we're trying to inside the, I don't know, Katie has lots of ideas and we have to keep up to her. So I have to stay in today or I panic sometimes, right? But when we look at nutrition as a whole, what about small, tiny refinements? What about, starting with hydration? What about starting with one new vegetable? What about making a list of different vegetables as you go through the grocery store and just deciding that you're going to add one in the week? It doesn't have to be massive, massive changes at the beginning. Listen, let me tell you a little something about January. And I've shared this with you before, Katie. Blue Monday is the 3rd January. Right? So it's 3rd Monday in January.
It feels like 3 Januaries.
It feels like a lot. This is when credit card bills come in. They start to become due. People realize they haven't hit their the resolution. That beautiful gym membership has never once been done. I mean, you've driven by it several times and you've looked in and you're like, wow, that doesn't look fun.
I don't want to, or I don't, like for me, I'd be like, I'm now waking up at 4 a.m. I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours. No, never once. Completely.
Listen, acne sufferers, please don't wake up at 4 a.m. Your adrenals and stuff need some TLC. So it's looking at that. So that specific day, that Blue Monday, it really pulls in a lot of judgment, self-judgment, frustration, resentment. So what about, again, small little nuggets? Why don't we not make promises when we're drunk? I don't know.
That's the worst time to make a promise. That's never accept a drunk person's promise.
And for those that don't drink, I'm a spectator in that, just like you. I watch everybody and it is like candy to me watching everybody get drunk and doing all these things. I wish I could just record it and be like, hey, how are you doing with that? Right. But nutrition doesn't have to be a big deal in essence. It could be like, you know what? I eat out 3 times a week. I'm going to eat out 2 times a week. Realistic, small changes. This is what gets you where you need to go. And when you do that, your skin says thank you.
And you know what? One of my favorite quotes is, many small steps make for one massive leap, because I'm a very type A person. Surprise, surprise, everybody. And I am like a go big or go home, 0 to 100. Like there is no. So let me tell you if you're a type A person listening, I completely understand how you're like, no. I'm waking up tomorrow and I'm doing all the things, Katie. Like we're removing that. We're adding this. We're going on our 3-hour walks. And I want to tell you that is not the right tactic, because it becomes very unsustainable very quickly. When you put all of these things on your plate, you get overwhelmed and then none of it gets accomplished. So this is why I'm now a really big advocate of many small steps make for one massive leap, because this is what creates sustainability. You choose 1, maybe max 2 things. Like Chris said, it could be as easy as, you know what, I only drink a cup of water in a day. I'm going to increase it to 2 cups. When you start feeling good about that, it's like that's a routine, it's in your day. That's when you add something new in, not while you're trying to juggle 600 things. You're like, okay, I've got it down. I'm now having 3 cups of water in a week, every day, week to week. This is great. So now I'm actually going to have, try and add in a little bit of breath work, or I'm going to try and add in X, Y, and Z, whatever that next goal. And I always recommend starting with the easiest goal. You don't want to start with something that's super, super scary and hard, because it's going to create that unsustainability. You want to pick what you feel would be that easiest goal for you to achieve. So that way you're building upon all of this, little mini successes that you've had.
I love that you said water.
It should be the first one. That's why I always start there.
So undervalued.
Chris, let's just do a quick sidebar reminder.
I'm going to start drooling.
30 seconds or less. I have to give her a time frame or else she'll spend a whole episode on water, which we have coming up. Is what does water do in the body? Now I have to give Chris a time frame on how much she can talk about water, or else she will literally talk about it for an entire podcast episode. So that's why we're doing one in a few weeks for her. But Chris, in like 30 seconds-ish, really share with us why water is so important and when it pertains to acne sufferers specifically.
Okay, I'm going to start with 2. Skin hydration, dry, flaky. What season are we in right now? Dry, flaky season, right? Skin hydration is huge. Not only that, what about bowel movements? We need bowel movements in order to remove toxins. Estrogen, because Katie, estrogen is linked to absolutely every acne sufferer's thing, right? They're just going to tell us it's all estrogen related.
All hormones.
But what we need to do is we need to get rid of the toxins. Also, actually, I'm going to give 3. I lied. Okay, I'm just going to hold.
I limited you, Chris. I limited you.
I'm still in my 30 seconds if you stop talking. Okay, I feel like the pressure. All right. Water is crucial in your ATP production, which means your energy. So if you cannot get your energy going, if all of these things, it's just like your ups and your downs, you're wired and you're tired, let's look at your ATP production. Let's look at the Krebs cycle. Let's look at the hydration pathways and the cofactors in there. So there's 3. So energy, bowels, removing of the toxins, and overall skin and cellular hydration. It's not a little factor.
And like I said, these are simple things. And I'm going to be completely transparent here, you guys. Water is the one I struggle with the most. It's the one I struggle with most. And it's the one I preach the most, obviously, because I need to be taking my own advice. So I feel like the pot calling the kettle black over here. So that's really one that I'm always on. Is I actually downloaded an app called My Water, I think. And I have a notification that's like, hey, Katie, make sure to drink that water. I'm trying not to swear on here. Hey, Katie, make sure you drink your water. And it's not that I don't want to drink the water. It's that I get so wrapped up in what I'm doing and momming and working and dogging and all of those things that I actually just forget. So
your adjectives,
my dogging, momming.
Well, I call it peopling. So
peopling. Yeah.
Yes. You and I definitely have our own words.
Yeah. We should create a dictionary of
2025. Okay, everybody.
Nobody's going to buy it. Nobody will buy that.
Oh, you better believe it.
Nobody will buy that.
Well, we'll get one. We'll make Paige buy it.
One sale from Paige. So when it comes to water, some ways that you can, jazz it up a little bit. Because for me, I also just get bored with drinking straight water. So I'll like to add in some fresh herbs, whether it's mint, even rosemary is really nice in it. You can be doing some citrus slices. Again, we know these things. Cucumber, you can be having some like right now in January, if you're in northern climate, non-caffeinated herbal teas, a great additional way to be getting your water intake in. So I work from home, whether you work from home or maybe you're in our office, like get a teapot and brew like a nice big pot of tea. That'll give you about 4 cups of water, depending how big that teapot is. So again, these are simple little strategies you can start adding in to increase that water intake. And I'll make you guys a promise this year, okay? If you guys drink the water, I'll drink the water. Chris, how do you feel about that? I wasn't sure how Chris was going to take it.
How are we going to measure this? I just want to know if that app swears.
It doesn't swear. In my head, it swears at me.
Because I would totally be getting that app that says, hey, you, beep, beep, go drink your water. I'd be like, dang, okay, girl.
I know. She's serious. She's
oh, she F-bombed? She is totally meaning it.
I'll go drink my water. So yeah, water can be a really great lifestyle habit to include and to start with. So let's go through, before we go through the rest of the lifestyle habits, again, I don't want to forget to talk about why these detox kits and the juice cleanses, the hormone supplements, all of these things may not be a good idea right now. Of course, over in the Clear Skin Solution, we love a good detox, right? Like we really walk our clients through food-based detoxes to flush out those different pathways, the liver, the lymph, the kidneys, the colon, to make sure we're removing all those toxins. But here's the thing about detox kits and cleanses and fasts is if those detox pathways aren't open correctly and are open properly, and you go into a heavy detox after just coming off of a holiday season of all of the drinks and goodies and deliciousness, a few things are going to happen. One, there's going to be nowhere for the toxins to escape through. So you're going to have massive flares of the symptoms, whether that be massive flares of acne, whether that be, joint pain, whatever those, digestion is really big symptoms. I said headaches, right? Headaches. I said, poor sleep. If we don't have those detox pathways open, like the symptoms can be quite severe. So we never want to go into that hard and heavy. We really want to be making sure, we're having daily poops, we're drinking the water, we're eating those nourishing foods, and we're really easing into that. And then the same thing with juice cleanses. This may not be a good time to do something like that. It may not be ideal to be doing juice cleanses in January. One, because it's going to be way too cooling for the body. That's not a good time. We need those comforting, nourishing, grounding, warming foods in our body. And also, we don't want to be impacting our blood sugar, because with acne sufferers, your blood sugar we can almost guarantee your blood sugar is not in a happy spot. And if we're just throwing in all of these, juice cleanse kits that's often people will often add in the sweeter juices because they're more palatable, that's going to be impacting your blood sugar as well. And then Chris, I'll let you handle.
It's also cruel.
It's also cruel.
It is one of the, unless you're working with somebody and you've done the prep work, your body's going to find it cruel.
Mm-hmm. You will feel horrendous, and you probably won't last more than a few days. And I don't say that is like, it's, bad motivation. It's that you would literally feel so bad.
And for now, like for January, for now.
Yeah. Exactly. And then when it comes to, again, those hormone balancing supplements, if we don't have these foundational things in place, lifestyle habits heavily influence our hormones. And we're so quick to skip over these lifestyle habits for a bottle. We're like, nope, don't need the habits. I need the bottle. You don't need the bottle, you need the habits. So let's start there. And what's really great is a lot of these lifestyle habits are pretty much free. Like they are free things to do. You don't always have to be buying, because if you're anyone like me, you don't need more supplements. I got a whole pantry full of supplements.
Or more buying.
Or I have an online shopping problem, which we are currently working on behind the scenes.
Like if you could see me right now, I do have sweat beads just when she says
that. On Black Friday, Chris was like, I can't handle you and Paige. Like I need to walk away from this conversation. And then Chris, I do want to touch on gym memberships as well, because this is a big time for gym memberships. And of course, we're such advocates for movement and strength and mobility. These are of course so important. And here's the asterisk. And if you're someone that's dealing with acne, we see in the Clear Skin Solution, Chris, how much their adrenals are taxed, how much their cortisol is struggling, how fight or flight the body is stuck in. And Chris, what happens when you go and start doing HIIT classes or spin classes or, these really intensive workouts?
CrossFit.
I know we're going to get some hate mail. I'm so sorry. I love these workouts. I do. I should say this. I love these workouts.
Hate it up. Hate it up, because the reason why they're going to hate it up is because they're codependent. I've been there. So nobody can tell me otherwise. Not only have I lived through it, I've done it. And obviously we have the education for it. So on top of that, the reason why people don't love to hear it is because we become addicted to it.
Oh, I was addicted to spin classes.
I know. Well, I did, but I would cheat when she'd say, turn it up higher. I just pretend to put my hand over it. I'm like, why?
I like spin classes, especially like Spinco and those, what's the big ones, Soul Cycle or whatever in the States, is when you go to Spinco, like you feel like you're at a club. And like being a former club goer, I love when the room's dark, you have like the house music pumping, and I feel like I'm at a rave, but I'm like doing it in a healthy way.
So it's nostalgic for you is what you're saying.
Nostalgic, but I can both Chris and I can appreciate that it becomes this addiction, this obsession. And when we're looking at specifically hormones, the stress response, cortisol, adrenals, our body may not love those high intensity workouts because even though you don't feel it as a stressor, it becomes an added stressor to your body, which can worsen hormonal imbalances. So it's not like we're saying, you can never go to that HIIT class, you can never go to that spin class. We want to be integrating in a way that, a combination. So maybe we're only doing that like once or twice a week, and we're getting some more gentle, like mild, moderate walking, hiking, swimming, Pilates, yoga, those types of things, instead of doing 7 days a week of HIIT classes. And remember that this is a for now, not a forever. We're really working to build that foundations. And if you're dealing with acne, we need to start looking at how we're living our life and the things that we need to maybe adjust or change or shift in order to get to where we want to be.
Yeah, again, small changes. If you're going to start now exercising or decreasing your exercise and eating Brussels sprouts and increasing your water, too much, too fast. And I know people are, because you and I are both A, but I know our A types are like, yeah, I got this. No, you have it for about 2 weeks and then you're going to be like, poo-poo this.
Yeah, you're burnt out. You get the lifestyle burnout. It is,
because the adrenals are already taxed. So go love yourself some motion and movement, because that's what we like to call it. I'm a hand talker. I have to put my hands down so you don't see me flailing all the time because it's just so awkward, right? So that's what we have to do. We have to get up from our seated desks. We have to walk around.
How dare you, Chris, get up from my seated desk?
Well, okay, for people like me who can laser focus in on things and also be squirrely, it's a little bit challenging. So, taking the animals for a W, doing whatever. At the end of the day, clients really serve purpose when we do small changes over time. And why do we keep repeating this? Because this is where the lifestyle, the sustainability comes in. I'm going to give you an example, because just today I had a client ahead of us doing this. And she had functional tests. And the functional tests, which were neat, they were 4 months apart and there was no symmetry. One said, yes, I can absorb fat. The other one said, maybe not so much. That you can absorb fats, but it can't be from food. You have to supplement. Oh, okay, back up, huh? So I know the body systems, whatever. I'm not going to bore everybody with the details. Long story short is there wasn't symmetry. But what I found really cool is in both, the one little nugget was the glucose uptake.
Share with the class. Everyone wants to know.
Glucose sugar is your very first way we burn our caloric intake. But if you cannot process your sugars, right? We need motion and movement to get sugar into the cells. We need quality circulation to move it around. Sugar molecules attach to your red blood cells. That gives you your blood type. We need it to move around iron and all of these things. So no wonder you have fatigue. At the end of the day, if she can't use her sugar, she's going to be burnt out. And if she can't use her sugars, who's going to eat the sugars, Katie?
Uh-oh, the little microbies.
Yep, not the friendly ones, the ones like my children that like to mooch off me. No, just kidding. People honestly probably think I hate my kids, but I don't.
She loves them. Yeah, she does. I swear, I've seen her with them. She does love them. Yeah. Can confirm.
So yeah, that's what I just wanted to share. It's like looking at that. To her, these tests aren't going to mean anything. To me, I'm already looking at it when she has 15 years of IBS-like symptoms. And guess what her labs say?
Guess what?
You're a glowing pillar of health. You are
Nothing
gorgeous.
is wrong. Never, this
Everything's
is normal.
great.
This is normal.
Ladies, I'm going to give you a final nugget here. If you cannot utilize your glucose, estrogen is codependent on glucose for its biosynthesis.
Now, Chris, can you bring that down a few notch for some? Remember, I'm here as Chris's interpreter.
Biosynthesis, to make it available in the body so that it can do what it needs to do, its intended function. Did I do okay there?
That was better. Yeah, that was better. Remember, everybody, I'm Chris's interpreter. I catch her when she goes all geek mode. And I'm like, no, let's break it down for the class. All right, Chris. So I love when we're able to really focus on getting, the blood sugar stability, the stress reduction. And we get, I would say, the insulin we want to love up on, the cortisol we want to love up on. These are some of those, this is really what the lifestyle habits are for. And we do this by things like actually eating food in a day. I know it's a novel idea for some, but actually eating meals in a day, not having coffee for breakfast and lunch and, waiting till 2 or 5 or 6 p.m. to eat, or relying on that bagel you got at the coffee shop along with your coffee this morning, because that's a refined carb and you're not going to feel very good about that.
Why are you hating up on my coffee? I thought we were going to have a better relationship in 2024.
With your coffee. Listen, I know this is where I'm going to get the hate mail is hating on the coffee. We can still have the coffee, but it shouldn't be a meal. We shouldn't be having like, oh, if I drink my coffee, I won't be hungry anymore. That especially true for acne sufferers, because this is going to massively impact your cortisol. It's going to impact your blood sugar. And guess what happens when your cortisol and blood sugar aren't happy? Guess what? It increases sebum production in the skin, which is that sticky, oily substance that clogs your pores and leads to breakouts. So reminder, the reason why we want to eat the food, not have coffee for meals, is so that we're not getting that increase in breakouts. And when we do this, this is going to be helping to balance out that cortisol, balance out that blood sugar, so that our body and our skin is so much happier. And then when it comes to eating the food, we're always going to go back to making sure you're having some protein, some fiber, and some healthy fats at every single meal. Because if we're just relying on refined carbohydrate that's going to turn to sugar, and then our body's going to send our blood sugar on a joyride, that's not going to be doing us any good either. We want to be making sure, if you're an omnivore, maybe guess what? You can have dinner-like meals for breakfast. You could be doing a little bit of chicken, some veggies, like leftover dinner for breakfast if you're short on time. If you're, maybe you can't diet, you're not that hungry in the morning. So let's try starting with like a little bit of a smoothie that has some protein, some fiber, some healthy fats, whether that's with some hemp hearts would give you all three of those. We could be doing some collagen powder in there. You could be doing your favorite cleaner protein powder. We really like Genuine Health. There's some great other brands out there, Truvani.
Look at you go. Like that 2-week little break you took, over the holidays.
Gave my brain power back.
I'm like, hey, maybe I should see if the school needs another teacher.
Oh, Chris, we know my I don't have time for that. Who'd want to learn my from this crazy brain? They'd be like, Katie, slow down. You talk too fast. And we want to be, again, making sure, or something, that I've been loving a lot lately, Chris, is chickpea omelets. And, chickpea omelets I've been really enjoying, because sometimes I just don't feel like eggs. I'm grossed out by them. I don't want to eat them, but I still like having that omelet style and that protein. So I'll sometimes do a chickpea flour omelet, and we have one coming out on the blog in a few weeks, I believe. And, stuffing it with a bunch of veggies and having my matcha after that, because I do love my matcha. Chris is like, stop talking,
like instantly, please.
And like, this is where, if you are someone who's like, Katie, I'm never getting rid of my coffee, maybe we have that coffee after we've eaten that meal of protein, fiber, and fat in the morning, right? We kind of want to stop having coffee before that 1-2 p.m. because that could start interrupting your sleep patterns later on.
Can we even go noon? And I, like, we all know I'm an avid coffee, like I'm waving my flag right now for like love. After 12 o'clock, we have to be very careful because your body produces iron at noon, and there's certain things we don't need any disruptors. I mean, magnesium, cofactors for blood sugar stability. I mean, I could go on and on. However, the fact is if we don't do that, here's a little, let's give them another free. We're feeling festive.
You're feeling festive. Of course I do.
Okay. Oh yeah, you can give a gift anytime.
I love gifts. Chris, I'm like, Chris, Amazon's arriving at your house in 4 hours. She's like, for what? I'm like, you'll see.
I moved. She goes, no, you're not. Okay. So when it comes to those afternoon coffees, the espressos, right? Espresso has less coffee and caffeine. Yes, okay, I get it. But if you are using that because you need a pick-me-up, you do have some kind of blood sugar dysregulation. And again, that protein, that fat, and that fiber, get in some good balancing macronutrients. So macros, protein, fat, and fiber. That's what we need to do. So start looking at your lunch. Was it substantial? And 12 to like 6 o'clock when average people eat dinner, I'm not average. I eat with the seniors at like 4:30. But when people do that, guess what? That is a long window. So please, you want to start taking back that energy so you can have motivation in order to do all the things we talked about today. That small little nugget, get the coffee before noon, have it with a meal, slowly sip. A lot of people, Katie, we're kind of, and it's not like we're on a boat by ourselves, but that concept we're pretty hard fast on, where a lot of people say, no, drink all beverages by themselves. Well, when it comes to caffeine, we like to have it with a meal. Slows down that spike.
For sure. Like, of course, we're going to tell our clients to limit their water intake with meals because we don't want to be dampening that digestive process. However, like, let's put an asterisk beside the coffee because it's best to be having, after you get food in your stomach versus having it first thing in the morning. In pertaining to specific to acne sufferers, because of course there's going to be people that have different body types or different goals or they're working on things, but we have seen time and time again, like we've worked with over 1,000 women in the Clear Skin Solution, that this really can have a big impact when we're working as acne sufferers.
Yep, I love it. I think honestly, pick one thing at a time, like we said, right? That stress reduction comes with all of these things ahead of time. So if you're looking specifically, like I'm going to stop my stress, but you're hitting the CrossFits and the hits, and we're addicted to that adrenaline pumping, beautiful cortisol stress hormones, then maybe that stress reduction isn't a specific, blinder, meaning we put on the horse blinders and that's all we're going to do. What if we did these all small shifts so that it starts to naturally reduce the stress? And then we look at refining exercise later on. There's a bunch of different ways to do it, but it is going to be case dependent too, right? Where I recommend sometimes I recommend HIIT.
Absolutely. This is a case by case.
Very rarely with acne sufferers. You know that. Very, very rarely.
Very rarely. Because again, we don't want to give this a hard or fast 100% across the board. There are going to be caveats and every person is different. So we're just talking about what we generally see for our clients in the Clear Skin Solution. So we've talked about, actually eating the food, because a big issue we see a lot with women is not eating enough in the day, literally not eating enough calories. And just you being a woman and thinking your to-do list, what I got to get done, running the kids to here, I have this to go on. Just this mental load burns calories. Like we're just sitting here burning these calories, and we are so undernourished, which means our bodies are underfed. And how is our body ever going to get better and repair and clear up our skin if we're not eating the fuel that it needs? It's like trying to drive your car on fumes across the country. Well, we live in Canada, so it's a big country. Drive it, as far as you can on just fumes. You're never going to get there. You're never going to get to your end goal. So really making sure we're eating the food, getting the protein, fiber, and healthy fats, focusing on that blood sugar. And again, don't worry, we included all of the links to our blogs on this in the show notes, so that way you have easy reference points to go back to. Drinking the water, getting that ideally half of your body weight in ounces per day as your base minimum. This will change if, maybe you're going through different detoxifications with your practitioners, or, you're more active, but at least half of your body weight in ounces. So if you're 120 pounds, that's going to be 60 ounces, which is, I don't make me do the math, Chris. What is that? 6-7 cups, something like that. Math is not my strong suit.
I just wanted to smile.
I failed grade 10 math with a tutor and going for extra help. My teacher passed me. She felt bad for me.
3 times.
See, look, you can still be successful.
And still be successful and yet, what do I do now with numbers?
Yeah, she's one of the numbers person aside from our CFO, but I just think it's so funny where teachers like, well, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket when you're, out in the real world.
Obviously, that was pre-iPhones.
Free iPhone. So, but we
So
digress.
let me give another little nugget on the water here. We're in January. It is cold. What about warming the water?
Room temperature and above.
Because I'll tell you, I don't want to drink it. So there's some criteria, but I can't. I have to save it now that we're having a water podcast. I can't even give all the tidbits. I'm just so excited.
Chris is like counting down the days to the water podcast. I don't even know when it is, to be honest. So you guys have to stick along and figure out when it is. Okay, so we talked about the food, we talked about the water, we talked about, not having coffee as a meal, some tips there. We talked about the movement, which can be as easy as going for a walk down your street. You got animals, you're going to have to, take them on the W. And if you're an animal parent, you know that you have to say W.
We can't say it.
both my dogs are beside me, so I'm not saying the word. Maybe going for a hike, just breathing that fresh air, doing some gentle movements like some yoga or Pilates or swimming. There's so many great free YouTube channels that offer like gentle workouts and light to moderate movement. Again, we don't need to be having these expensive gym memberships in order to get the movement that our bodies need in the day.
And we need that movement to stimulate the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system with acne sufferers, usually we can see some congestion. That's the word I'm going to use. We see congestion. Also, warming the waters and warming the foods is good for the spleen. So is lymphatic. So think about your immune system. Think about digestion. Think about those gorgeous things, even like moisture, right? So acne, when it's, fungal or yeast-like based, we definitely need to take the moisture out of the body. So there's a lot of great things. I love the lymphatic system. You and I both believe that it doesn't get enough highlights.
The lymphatics is one of my favorites because it's such an unsung hero of the body. And again, I'll pop our full blog on it below. But we also have a lymphatics podcast coming out, I think, in the second half of the year. Because again, it's a really important one. It lies just below the surface of your skin and it kind of acts like your body's waste disposal system. It's a little garbage truck going around and picking up the toxins and the intruders and flushing it out. So it's part of your detoxification system and it can get really stagnant. So we'll include that blog. But let's move on to the final two lifestyle habits, which is stress reduction and sleep. Who here gets stressed? I feel like I just live in a chronic state of fight or flight. I'm really working hard on this through my therapy and all the things that I do, as you know, Chris. So as someone who also struggles with high levels of chronic stress, fight or flight, still have issues with PTSD and mental health and all of that. I feel you, I see you, I hear you. Some days it is really, really difficult for me to do my mindset work and my stress reduction because if I'm going through a bout of depression, it's really, really difficult for me to do that. So let's talk through some easier things. Of course, things like journaling and gratitude practice, those can be quite difficult if you're going through issues with your mental health. So let's try things like different types of breath work. And, as I've been digging more into the world of breath work, again, I'm not an expert, just from what I've learned from people that I work with and practitioners that I work with, is there's different types of breath work depending what you're struggling with, because some breath work can actually bring anxiety on for people. So making sure that you are literally just having deep breaths. I didn't realize this until who told me? I think it was my Pilates instructor. And then somebody else told me as well. And they're like, Katie, you're not getting a deep breath. Like you should be breathing all the way up to the top of your lungs, like right under your collarbones area, right? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Who? I've never breathed all the way up my chest. I usually just breathe in the little spots. And they're like, that can be impacting your mental health. You need to get that big, expansive, expanding your lungs all the different ways, back and front and forwards and up and down and sideways. You're getting that full expansion in your breath. Just focusing on getting a deep breath can be so helpful. Or, I really found tapping easy for me because meditation is really difficult. If I do meditation, I need a guided meditation. But tapping is or EFT, emotional freedom technique. It was a really helpful one for me when I went through my pregnancy losses because it feels like a guided meditation. They have a great app called the Tapping Solution. They have a free and a paid version, which is great. And I would say tapping, deep breaths, and grounding are my three favorites. I love just getting out in nature. Like I live in the country, so it's a little bit easier for me. My parents back onto a provincial park, so I like will sometimes just go there to just be in nature. Maybe you live in the city, but maybe you have a little park that you can visit in the city, or even just standing on your balcony while you're walking, like really taking in the nature around you, the tree that the city's planted, the little like flowers they have along the walkway. Somebody hung a planter in their window. In the wintertime, maybe you're looking at those beautiful cruciferous trees. That's the right one, right? Cruciferous trees. I had to go back in my brain. Cruciferous? Oh, I called it. I called it a vegetable.
Are you? Do you want?
Oh, I called it a vegetable.
Spruce trees.
That was the word.
Trees
not
even?
Broccoli. Not the vegetables. Not the broccoli.
Please do not go and plant cauliflower because you're going to find Katie outside your window just looking into it.
Never mind, you guys. I was on such a roll. I was such on roll. Anyway, so those for me is I love grounding. I really like grounding. It's difficult to get sunshine, in the northern climates, but I'll even use a happy light. At my desk in the wintertime, you can get a happy light on Amazon. You can get happy light knockoffs if you're looking for a cheaper one, and that will kind of imitate the sun levels. So I would say getting out in nature, tapping, and getting like a deep breath are my favorite stress reduction, and having a bath. I love a good bath.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right there, magnesium sulfite bath. I'm in. I'm going to take that one for sure. The other thing is, what would my, so I like for people to have talk therapy.
Yes.
And I've done it myself.
I go weekly.
Do. What I find is missing, of course, Chris dissects everything because of why wouldn't I?
Chris is even a fun ruiner for me.
A fun ruiner. We call it bubble popping cruciferous planter.
Guys, I've had a few flubs today. It's January. Like it's been my brain's been off for 2 weeks doing holidays and stuff.
You did great. You got a gold star. Now you have half a gold star, but because you made me laugh, you have 2 gold stars.
Well, I don't know how the math worked on that one, but I'll take it.
It's okay. So what I love and what I want to share with people is a couple things. When I'm teaching before I issue out a test, we do an exercise ahead of time. So I get their brain stimulated on other things, but another exercise I do is breath work.
We just talked about breath work. You're stealing mine.
No, I'm saying that's what I do when I have students write tests. I am agreeing with you. Take it. It doesn't come often, Miss Matcha. So I do that because what it does is it brings oxygen, like he's saying, to everything. And we need oxygen in the brain. So that's usually what kind of goes. And the reptilian brain takes over and like, we panic. So long story short is I love the Epsom salt. I love your breath work. I love getting outside in nature and stuff and all those things. But when it comes to that talk therapy, what I find the disconnect is the feeling portion. We can talk till we're blue in the face, and I love it. On the opposite end, I always say to people, have 2 columns, quickly write down, here's what happened today. Ding, 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 ding. And then on the other side of the column, I want you to connect how it made you feel. And you do that over 1 week. And then you see your connectors and you see your triggers. Once you identify your triggers, then you have the resolution to work forward. Make sense?
For sure. And like Chris is really big about connectors. She is all about it. I'm pretty sure she says the word 600 times in a day, but agreeing, finding out what those triggers are so that way you can start changing, making those lifestyle habits and putting those shifts into place for your own self. Okay. So obviously when it comes to stress reduction though, just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you, right? You really need to find your favorite thing. I also, go doing yoga, like some gentle hatha, or yin yoga, all of these more nurturing yoga practices. Maybe for you, it's walking. Maybe for you, want to know what really brings my stress down? Music. I love music and dancing. It is my biggest favorite thing in the whole world to do. When I checked my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year, it had said I had listened to 46,700 and something minutes on Spotify this year, which puts me in the top 6% of listeners. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Because when I'm in a crappy mood, I'll go and play my favorite uplifting songs, and it really helps shift my mood. Not every time, but.
Okay, so A or B? A, music, B, TV.
Music.
Same.
I love TV. Don't get me wrong. I worked in TV for 14 years, so I'm a big TV fan.
Not a fan. I am not a TV. I am not a
But
TV
if I had to
girl.
choose one, I would choose music hands down.
Same. And if I don't have anyone in the car, you should hear.
The level, it's
You should hear the level of music. And I mean, I'm rocking out like hardcore.
and I like it because my kids are little, so it's different. But I can listen to the words with swear words in it, because you don't realize how many of your favorite songs have swear words in it until you have little kids. You're like, oh God, shut it off.
My kids are older. So what I do is I say, you can say the swear words if it's in a song. So they go and they find all the
Parenting 101 with Chris.
They all go find, the advisory ones. And they play those.
So they got Eminem on there.
Absolutely, we have Eminem.
Okay, so maybe we're not going to listen to Eminem for stress reduction, but finding something that works for you is what I was getting at, right? And then that last one is sleep, everybody. I talk about sleep on my Instagram all of the time because it's so overlooked. And, this is something I'm also guilty of, because, especially if you have little ones or you're working late, by the time you get home, we put the kids to bed. I actually get to speak to my husband and I sit down in the same spot for the first time. It's like 9:30. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to go to bed in 30 minutes and I haven't seen you all day. I feel like we live in the house. We're just roommates in the house together. We never actually get to converse in a day because of the kids. So, I will be that procrastinator where I'll stay up a few extra hours because I just want that me time. But remember, it creates that domino effect, because I'm the person that needs Chris 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Like, do not wake me up. My kids know, don't wake up mommy. Mommy needs to have her sleep. It's not don't wake daddy, it's don't wake mommy in our house.
Same.
So for me, like, when I need to go to bed at 10, or else I feel hungover in the morning. Like, I actually feel hungover. And then I am groggy and maybe I need to have my matcha and I have a coffee. And then maybe I'm a little grumpier and my mood swings are a little bit worse. Then my pain's worse because I'm tired and I'm grumpy. And then has this domino effect with you for the rest of the day, and you're tired. So you're going to need another coffee. And all this goes back to is you should have just gone to bed earlier. Instead of going to bed at 11, midnight, 1 because you're up watching Netflix and being like, oh, just one more. And I say this as a just one more person. I'm like, oh, just 10 minutes of the next episode, Frank. And he's like, yeah, 10 minutes. And then we're like 2 more episodes in. So what I've really started trying to do is not watch shows during the week, like Monday to Thursday, or like Sunday night to Thursday. I try to read, because this again will put me in that rest and digest, will calm my body down. And I will start to create that, bedtime hygiene. I dim the light to only use lamps in the house so I'm not blinded with lights. And, maybe I will, put my essential oil diffuser on. I will stop looking at the technology, get rid of that blue light, that stimulation, and read or journal or do something that doesn't involve watching. I always say The Walking Dead because it used to be my favorite show that was kind of scary. But if you're watching these like intensive, like true crime documentaries.
Oh yeah.
I do love a good true crime.
I do.
But watching it before bed, your adrenals are like, is this happening?
Well, your nervous system can't distinguish between real and fake. And then watch your dreams.
Oh yeah, I get some wild dreams if I'm watching true crime murder shows before bed.
I've been doing great in the sleep department. I get it about 3 days before my menses or, whatever, but I don't know what's happening. Something shifted. I'm loving life. I'm loving people. I'm loving everything.
People?
Yeah. Well, I mean, talk to me tomorrow. So it's moment by moment basis. No, but what I'm saying is I know it because I went through a whole 1.5 years of horrific insomnia.
Nothing's worse than insomnia.
About your moods. No. So you know what? When you get a unicorn poop or a unicorn sleep, then you understand the difference.
Chris's favorite emoji, the unicorn, fun fact.
Well, it is. Actually, you send them to me.
I do send them to her because I know they're her favorite.
If she wants to get my attention, she'll send a unicorn emoji. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to read that right away.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll read that, Katie. So let's kind of go through. Is there anything we missed with sleep, right? Because an important thing to talk about is what happens when you sleep. When you sleep, your body's really going through and cleaning house. It's doing its to-do list, running its errands, because you're not, eating a bunch of food and running around and it's not having to be on and digesting and all the things.
It's also processing up subconscious things, right? So we're not housing them in the liver. There's a lot going on. Yeah.
Or even it's working to lower your cortisol levels. While you sleep, your cortisol levels actually can start to decrease. And what's interesting is if we are not sleeping, our cortisol is going to be worse. It's also going to impact our blood sugar, which is going to increase sebum production in the skin. So this is why we want to be sleeping. Literally every health issue out there, just every human being needs to sleep. And it's going to be really important for acne sufferers. The caveat here is I know that there's the nurses out there and the shift workers saying, what about us? We work shift work and I don't have that luxury. The number one profession we work with in the Clear Skin Solution are nurses. So we are very well versed.
They do amazing.
They do so well. They really get the connections, like, because they have that background knowledge, but we are very well versed in shift work. We get a lot of travel nurses as well, where they're like placements at a hospital for 6 weeks and they fly across the country somewhere else. Or we have shift workers. So Chris, like, what is those big core pieces of advice that you give to the shift workers?
Consistency and meal prep. That's what is big. So you're like, well, what does that have to do with sleep? When you are eating and you have the proper caloric intake so that you're not burning energy you don't have, then what happens is you create your own natural energy and your circadian rhythm will change to the shift that you need it to. You know, you could darken the room, you can put white noise, you can do a lot of things, put down that phone. But the prep and making sure you have the foods done and ready, that is the biggest cofactor to those epic sleeps later down the road.
Absolutely. So I know we shoved a bunch of things your way. We said a lot of words in the last 50-ish minutes. So
don't ask us what they were.
Don't ask us, but we can summarize them for you. Let's do a great little summary. Because I don't want you to listen to all these suggestions and be, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. I have to do all these things. I'm going to repeat it again. Many small steps make for one massive leap. Pick one, max 2 things you learned today. You could even save this podcast for later. Make sure you're subscribed. Then go and save it. You can re-listen to this. You can check out the show notes for references back, because it's not about doing this all at once. So we want to be making sure that we're eating the food. We're not skipping meals. Coffee is not a meal. Have it afterwards. That we are drinking water in a day. We're getting enough hydration. We're having those bowel movements. We didn't talk too much about that, but again, we'll put in the show notes our blog we have on why bowel movements are so important, because they help flush the toxins. Getting that gentle movement in the day, not overdoing it with the movement, including some stress reduction practices to love up that cortisol, and getting some really good quality sleep as best you can, especially if you're a shift worker. So that would be our kind of summarization of the foundations for acne sufferers. So just a reminder, clear that cart of all the supplements you're about to buy for that detox kit and try
that
these
includes
things.
You, Katie. That includes you.
Chris, I'm not on trial for my online shopping today, okay? I have no supplements currently in my carts. I have lots of other items, though.
How many? I was going to say, how many tabs do you have open with stuff in your cart?
You don't want to know. It's a hot mess. Yeah, it's
I'm
fine.
going to let it go. Stress reduction, right? Stress reduction.
Stress reduction. Shopping.
Okay.
Stress reduction for me.
Now we get it.
So remember, before you start going and buying the detox kits and the hormone supplements and doing all of these, again, quick fixes, really focus and hone in on the lifestyle habits that you're doing, because these can make massive shifts in how you feel far beyond that temporary detox kit that you're going to do. All right, Chris, what are we talking about next week? Let's get them excited. I'm pumped for this topic.
Ooh, you know what? I think I'm just going to sit back and let you take the show, because this healing crisis that we're going to talk about, you know it very well. You did it last year, right?
Well.
Yeah, so we want to see what that does, understanding the body's response, using holistic practices to help guide you. I mean, hold on. This is a lot of sexy coming up.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for hanging out with us this week on the Clear Skin Chronicles. We'll see you next Wednesday with a brand new episode. Remember to subscribe to the show and drop us a review. Sending glowing vibes your way, Katie and Chris.